Stasio arrived at Fort Lewis, Washington, in 2004, when he was 22 years old. His new brigade intelligence officer took one look at the second lieutenant's resume, saw the background in math and physics, and told Stasio, "You're going to the SIGINT platoon." SIGINT, or Signals Intelligence, is the capture and analysis of electronic communications. Like all branches of intelligence, it's a blend of science and art, but it's heavy on the science. The brigade intelligence officer had worked at the National Security Agency and recognized that Stasio's physics training would come in handy, because so much of SIGINT involves the technical collection of radio signals, fiber optic transmissions, and internet packets. Stasio's military training in college focused on how to use a rifle and lead a squad. But he had spent 6 months learning the basics of intelligence gathering and analysis at the Army's intelligence school at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. When he came to Fort Lewis, Stasio was assigned to a Stryker brigade, a mechanized force designed to be light on its feet, capable of deploying into combat in just a few days. It was Stasio's job to locate the enemy on the battlefield by tracking his communication signals. And he was also supposed to divine his adversary's intentions by eavesdropping on the orders a commander gave to troops, or listening for the airstrike that a platoon leader was calling in from behind the lines. Stasio would join the 4th Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division, the Raiders, and deploy to Iraq. He'd be working with a team of linguists who would be essential since Stasio didn't speak Arabic. But when it came time to meet them, Stasio started to worry. Nearly all of the linguists spoke only English and Korean. The Army had designed its signals intelligence system for the Cold War. Thousands of troops still served on the Korean peninsula. They were still trained in how to fight a land battle with North Korean forces, in which the physics of SIGINT, locating tanks and troops, would be central to the mission. But the Raiders were going off to fight a network of Iraqi insurgents, volunteer jihadists, and terrorists. These guys didn't drive tanks. They didn't organize themselves according to a military hierarchy. And of course, they didn't speak Korean. Stasio decided that his intelligence training would be mostly useless in Iraq, where the U.S. occupation was coming unglued. Army casualties were mounting, the result of a well-orchestrated campaign of roadside bombings by insurgents. The soldiers who didn't die in these attacks were coming home with limbs missing, or with severe brain injuries that would impair them physically and emotionally for the rest of their lives. SIGINT wasn't preventing these attacks. Indeed, it was hardly being used at all. In October 2004, the military's top signals intelligence officer estimated that as much as 90% of all information in Iraq was being supplied by a network of human spies and informants, and they weren't helping the Americans reduce the bombing attacks and insurgent strikes. Stasio read as much as he could about insurgencies, noting in particular how they organized themselves using a network model, with many independent nodes of people working in teams, separate from a central controller. This was the opposite design of a vertical military bureaucracy, with orders filtering down from the top through several layers of officers. In principle, the intelligence discipline in which Stasio was trained should still work. He was expected to locate his enemy using electronic signals and figure out his next move. But the tools the Army had supplied to do this were ill-suited to the shadowy, urban battlefields of Iraq. The Raiders used a collection platform known as the Prophet system, a rugged truck affixed with a tall, roof-mounted radio antenna about the size of a street lamp. The older officers in the brigade liked the Prophet because it told them what enemy forces were in their immediate area of operations. It was a tactical device, and they controlled it, driving it to wherever they wanted to collect intelligence. But the Prophet was designed to collect radio waves, and on a wide-open and relatively flat area of battle. Stasio knew that the enemy fighters in Iraq were communicating using cell phones and email, and through videos they'd posted on the internet. They were moving in small groups through the dense concrete maze of